Add a guest to be on your live video. Okay, hi, good morning. No. So we are live today. I'm live today with Ritika and just waiting for Ritika to join. In this lockdown, how do we help our child engage? Because the child is alone at home in many cases.
Hey.
Hi Ritika, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
Can you
Okay,
hear
cool.
me?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Awesome. So good to have you
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, good to have you
Yeah,
live.
good to have you live.
It's exciting.
It's exciting.
So let's start. I hope there are few people watching us and they can also participate by putting in comments. But let's start by you sharing what are you facing and so on. Little intro about your child and where are you and all that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So we are.
We are.
Sorry, my voice is
Sorry,
echoing
my
a lot.
voice is
So I'm just
echoing a
trying
lot, so I'm just trying
to make sure that doesn't
make
echo.
sure that doesn't echo.
Yeah, that's better now, I guess.
Better now, I guess.
So me and
So
my husband,
me
we
and my
are
husband,
based
we
in
are
Seattle,
based in Seattle,
and we have a
and we
3-year-old,
have a 3-year-old,
a very active
a very
3-year-old
active
boy,
3-year-old boy,
and it's
and
been a
it's
great
been
journey
a
up until
great
now.
journey up until now.
Yeah, we're
We're
basically just
basically just
learning and
learning
enjoying
and
and just
enjoying
cherishing
and
every
just cherishing
moment.
every moment.
One thing which
One thing which
I've been thinking about a
I've been
lot
thinking
in the
about a
last
lot
few
in the
months,
last
and
few
I
months,
think
and
more
I
because of
think
the
more
COVID
because of the
situation,
COVID situation,
is that
is that
how can we
how
enrich
can we
this
enrich
learning and his
this
growing up
learning and his
experience,
growing up
not just for him
experience,
but
not
even
just
for
for him
us
but even for
as
us
parents,
as parents,
in a place where
in
we
a
don't
place where
have
we
a very
don't have
strong
a very strong
community.
community.
Because if I
Because
compare
if I
my
compare
childhood
my
where I was
childhood where
back
I
in
was
India,
back
like
in India,
I
like
had so many
I had
friends
so
and
many friends
family,
and
and like there
family,
was
and
just
like there
a
was just
different culture, I
different
guess, that we
culture,
were
I guess,
growing up
that we
with.
were growing up
It's
with.
slightly
It's
different
slightly
here, and
different
we're living
here, and
very,
we're living very
not very isolated,
not
but it
very
is kind of
isolated, but it is
isolated. So
kind of
it is
isolated.
like
So it
his
is like
interaction is
his interaction is
90% just with me
90%
and my
just with
husband,
me and my husband,
and not so
and
much with
not so
others.
much
And
with
he as a
others. And
person
he as a
is very
person is
friendly and
very
like
friendly
social.
and
So
like social. So
if you see someone
if you
while
see
he's
someone
going for
while
a
he's
walk, like
going
he'll
for
try
a
to
walk,
talk to
like he'll try
them.
to
And I
talk
want
to
to
them,
encourage
and I
that. I
want to
just want
encourage that. I
want
just
him to
want
have those
him to
experiences
have
and
those
just like talk to
experiences and just
people
like
and
talk to people
have
and
conversations.
have
And both
conversations.
me
And
and my
both
husband
me
are
and
pretty
my husband are
introverted
pretty
by
introverted
nature.
by nature.
So
So
he is the
he
opposite, I
is the
feel, and like
opposite, I
he
feel, and like
usually
he
starts talking
usually
to people
starts
and
talking
he'll
to
like,
people, and he'll
hey,
like,
my name is
hey,
Riyan
my name
Chaudhary,
is
and he'll
Riyan
just start
Chaudhary, and
talking,
he'll
which
just
is
start
awesome.
talking, which is
And I
awesome.
wanted to
Just
have,
And I
one
wanted
moment,
to
Ritika.
have those experiences.
Just one moment. They're saying there's echo on your sides. So they're saying maybe you need to rejoin or something.
Okay, let me
Okay,
rejoin.
Let
I
me
can
rejoin.
also hear
I
an
can
echo.
also hear an echo.
So okay.
So okay.
Uh,
Okay, so Ritika is rejoining, and she was for people who have just joined in. She was sharing the situation where both the parents and the child is all by themselves in their home. They are in US, so there is not uh, too much of company that the child has, nor the parents have, and she's wondering what can I do.
hey,
Hey,
is it
Yeah,
better?
hi.
is it better?
I don't know. Just talk for a few sentences, and then you can
Okay.
ask people.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it better?
Yeah.
Is it
Is
better?
it better? Is
I
it better?
think I'm
I
still echoing.
think
I
I'm
can
still
still hear
echoing. I can
myself.
still hear myself.
Maybe I should grab a
Maybe I
pair of
should grab a pair of
headphones.
headphones.
Yeah, maybe that.
Okay.
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 Sorry, I need to
Sorry, I need
leave
to
and come back.
leave and come back.
Sure. You can leave the camera on.
Okay.
Okay.
You can just come back. Yeah. So what she was sharing was a situation where the both the parents are at home, but the child isn't really meeting anybody else because, well, it's COVID time, so nobody is going out. Even otherwise, they don't have too many children around them, or they are not very social. And while he was social, so both the parents are not very social in terms of having a larger community, and the child is social, so the child wants to meet people, say hi to people who are walking around on the road, but they are not very like keen on that, especially right now where it's the COVID situation. So um, yeah, the whole idea is, what do we do with a young child at home who is wanting to be social, wanting more interaction, wanting a community, and that's just not available, as she said, partly because of the COVID situation, and partly because the parents themselves are not, let's say, very social and interacting with a lot of, let's say, not known people and so on. So I guess that's a situation common to a lot of people, irrespective of. So Ritika is in US, but people can be anywhere facing this kind of an issue. Yeah, where the child is. Yeah, yeah, Ritika.
Hey.
Let's try. Hey. Yeah.
Yeah, is
Just
it better
pick
now?
something. Yeah, is it better now?
I think it's become
I
worse,
think it's become
honestly.
worse, honestly.
I can hear a lot of
I can
myself
hear a
now.
lot of myself now.
Really? Okay. Is it
Let's
because
see.
of? Is it because of me? Or my
I am
thing?
not sure.
I'm not sure.
I can hear
Okay.
myself
I can
twice.
hear
I can
myself
hear
twice. I
you
can hear
clearly.
you clearly.
Okay. Anyway, I can go. I can also put a headphones. I don't have earphones, but I have headphones.
Is everybody else
Is
hearing us
everybody else
okay?
hearing us okay?
Okay. Asavri is suggesting we may. Shall we read the call? Bye.
Redo the call? Okay.
Just one moment. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Oh, but I don't think it has made any difference. Yeah, echo is still there.
I think it has made a difference at my end. I can't hear my echo anymore.
Okay, let's see. But in spite of putting in headphones, I can hear you through the speaker. So that's little. Okay, you speak.
Okay. Hi, hello, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me all right? Is it clear? Is it echoing?
Okay, now I think it's fine now.
Okay.
Bhairavi is saying it's fine, no echo now.
Yeah, I think
Asavri is also saying the same thing.
okay, great. Yeah, it's clear at my end as well. I can not hear myself twice and I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay.
So somebody was saying it's a relatable situation, young child at home wanting to meet more people and not so keen on, let's say, using FaceTime or a device to
Yes.
connect with people. Yeah. So let's where do we start? So first is okay. So let's look at what have you tried, as in what have you guys been thinking of as parents? What all different things have you tried?
So our daily activity these days is just sitting outside our house because we live on a street where people take a lot of they go for walks and there's a park nearby. So we just sit outside and we hang out outside and people just pass by, they say hello, sometimes they strike a conversation, sometimes Rian strikes a conversation with them and he gets to talk to people. I think that has been working really well because in the current situation you're not really going to anybody's house and you're social distancing as such as well. So just kind of like setting ourselves up in a way where we just see other human beings and we get a chance to talk to them. It has been working well. We've been doing ever since he was born, like our family is all in India, so we do a lot of FaceTiming, but he doesn't really enjoy that at all. Yeah, like yeah, he just doesn't enjoy that. So that is definitely not working. Something which kind of started working at the start, but I think he's got over it, is our local library does storytelling sessions. So this used to happen in person and we used to go every week and they used to do like a song and a dance and then a story. And he used to really enjoy that. And they started doing that virtually now. So we used to attend that. And the first few sessions he definitely enjoyed, but I think now he's just like, he'll listen to maybe the story part for 5-10 minutes and then he'll be like, okay, I'm done. And then he'll just get distracted and start doing other things. And also it's not interactive. Like if he's saying something, he's probably on mute. And by the time he comes off mute, he's lost that train of thought or he's just distracted with something else. And he's just 3 years old. So I don't expect him to just go through like a normal video call.
Right.
Especially which is modulated and there are so many other children, for example, on that call. So that has not been working. what else is working is, I guess, yeah, I think it's just like whenever we're going to the park or whenever we're going somewhere where there are other people around, like just giving him the opportunity to interact with someone if those people are interested in talking. We don't have a pet, but he loves pets, and there's a dog park near our place, so that's a good way to just talk to people. He starts running and talking to like
Yeah,
playing with
yeah.
dogs, and then people chat with him. So that works. But in the past, we had just started getting him into a co-op schooling system, which is basically where parents are with the child, and the
Mm-hmm.
teachers are parents, and everybody's together, and you're basically, it's a community-based learning system, and that was really interesting and nice. But then that got halted as well. So I think it was going initially well, but I think right now there's none of that happening. So I'm feeling like we are in a situation where I want to make things better, and I just want him to like retain his bubbly nature where he's like talking to people and provide him with all those opportunities. And I
Okay.
wanted to understand like what are other parents who are doing in this situation? What are your experiences? Because I like how much ever I read, I feel like community based learning, and like it takes a village to parent a child. And
Yeah, yeah,
how do we build that maybe virtual village or socially distant village in this current scenario? And any
yeah.
ideas and any brainstorming on that would be yeah, really helpful.
Okay, okay. So I want to start somewhere a little different. I want to look at this situation as that there is no problem.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
problem.
I don't see a problem here, right? So I don't see a challenge here or a problem here. All we are saying is, hey, yeah, the child is let's say bubbly in nature or whatever, likes to meet people, and how can we create opportunities? But there is no problem, so there is nothing really, kind of pressing on us that we should do something, right? I think that itself kind of does a lot, because when we get all worked out that, oh my goodness, my child is not getting community, blah blah blah, and we as parents get all worked up, and then that even that one interaction that happened, we want to maximize it, chalo chalo chalo, you should talk and whatever, whatever. So we're all worked up. I'm not saying you get
Yeah.
worked up, but that's the, so we need to take that out. So even if, let's say, a 5 minute interaction happens during the day with somebody, let's say that's good enough. That's like whatever. That's a bonus. So let's assume zero interaction other than with the parents, and whatever voice calls or face calls he has with the other family members who are elsewhere. Everything above that is a bonus. Yeah, so when we
Yeah.
start looking at it that way, it really relaxes us. It really makes us enjoy our, time and day much better, because we are not then trying to do something. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
are we're letting things happen. We will still do things. I'm not saying we will sit like that, but it's not coming from a point of anxiety, right?
Right.
So then we can, yeah, look at lot of different options that can happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you want to say about this?
I think that's a really good thing to say, and to, I guess, for me to say to myself probably every day, because yes, as a parent, I sometimes feel I just get worked up for no reason. As you said, there is no problem here. It's just, yeah, trying to make things better, and maybe, yeah, it's just like, it's okay however things are, and not being anxious about it, I think is a good thing. Not just about this, but I think as a parent, I should probably do that on a more regular basis with everything. Like, he doesn't need to eat the same amount of food every day, or he doesn't need to do the same amount of like other activities which he probably does in a day. Like, I think just relaxing myself, and yeah, I think that helped. I've definitely seen, like, when I am more relaxed and more calmer as a person, I see that reflecting on him as well. Not directly, but over the course of the day, I feel like at the end of the day, I'm like, that was a smooth day.
Yeah,
And
that's the big one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big one. And there's a related thought to that. The related thought is that let's not get too bothered about what you're calling as his bubbly nature, right? Like, you've already thought, oh, we are more introverts and he's more extrovert. I would say neither you are introverts nor he is extrovert, right? Let's not put these labels to anybody. These labels do not do any good to us, to none of us. right? It only puts trouble to all of us. It's like a sinking stone tied to us, right?
Right.
So let's not do that at all. Let's say I am Ritika and I am mom and he's dad and he's son and that's it, period. At this moment, he may want to talk to somebody. At another moment, he may want to just be with himself, and same for you. So, and it's all right. How many ever people he is able to get to interact with is absolutely fine. There is no prescribed dosage of number of interactions per child per day per month. No, life is not lived like that. Children and all of us do not evolve based on certain specific doses that we got. Yeah.
Right.
So I want to take that also out of the picture.
Absolutely.
Because that is the other big thing that we end up doing. We end up putting, seeing our child in a certain way. And then we see, oh my goodness, I need to protect that nature or whatever. You don't need to. The nature is actually, I would even go ahead and say there's nothing like nature. Right? A child is something this moment and is another thing the next moment. We are living moment to moment, right? Day to day, year to month, week to week, whatever. We are not permanent. We are not constant. We are always evolving, right? Always growing, always changing. And we may be changing states in a matter of minutes multiple times. Right? We are so dynamic human beings. So let's not get trapped again in these. I call them as horrible adjectives. Horrible because in listening they look good. He's bubbly. He's so outgoing. So these sound very good, but they're actually they do more harm than good. Even the so-called positive adjectives. He's intelligent. He's smart. He's beautiful. He's this. He's that. All of these adjectives harm the child as well as us. So let's keep that all of it aside. We say one moment he's beautiful when he's doing something nice. The next moment he is ugly because he threw something on the floor and the whole floor is now has to be mopped up and I'm also angry. So at that moment he is ugly. So let's say beauty, ugly, whatever, bubbly, non-bubbly is a matter of, cycles that we go through every single moment. So if you keep these two things aside, the life becomes much easier.
That's a really good point. Yeah. that is a really good point. I think, yeah, absolutely. And not just for children, I guess, like, yeah, as you said, like it's for everybody.
Yeah.
That is very insightful.
Because it's like clearing the field now. Now you weeded it out. Now you can start sowing the seeds as they come to you. Right, without any expectations, but we have cleared out all this little things that we keep growing in our mind. I call them weeds because they just grow. You don't realize that these thoughts are going inside our mind. So let the weeds be out so that nothing else is growing, and we can just throw seeds of different opportunities and see what the child is taking it at the moment. What he, like you gave the example of that storytelling, what he enjoyed few weeks or months back, he no more enjoys, right? So he has moved away from it. That's not a permanent move away. He may go back to interactive storytelling sessions. He may become a storyteller in his life, for all you know, right? So we don't know, right? So, but then we are able to see the child at this moment. How is he at this moment? In this whole big thing, spiritual leaders keep talking about living in now, be in the present, and all that. I think that's even more important as parents. Children are anyway living in the now, right? We need to learn from them and just be with them. If a passerby is passing and he wants to at this moment talk to him because he sees an opportunity to talk to this lady or that guy or a child or even a teenager, cool, right? Right now he's wanting that. And until it is not harmful for anybody, neither the other people and or him, it's cool, right? Let him do that. And the next moment, or let's say the next passerby and he's least interested in talking to them, that's also cool. So then we are able to connect with the child at this moment in the now, and then take from there that how can we help the child or support the child in whatever interactions the child is looking for.
Right. So a related question, not really related to the exactly what we're talking about right now, but how do you encourage a child in that situation when he does something which I don't know how to frame this, but like something which is nice, right? Like which is a kind gesture, or again, I don't want to use a label, but I don't know how else to say it. But like if he does something which is good, basically, how do we encourage that behavior versus encourage and letting him also know at that same time that something else that he did, for example, like the example that you gave, like if he threw food or whatever, like something to make a mess on the floor or something, right? Like that. Like, how do you
Yeah.
let the child know that that's not a good thing? I guess uh, not letting him know that this is about him and how his personality is, but
Yeah.
how do we still let the child know, like, oh, that was very loving of you to say that, or thanks for coming and giving
Yeah.
me a hug, it made me feel nice.
Yeah.
Like, how do I or how are we more mindful without using any of these labels or terms like that,
Yeah,
to
that is very
acknowledge.
simple, Ritika. What we can label is the behavior, but we
Okay,
need not label the child.
got it.
Right?
Okay.
So at this moment, if he is being, if he did something, so you can say what you did is not okay, and or the other way around, when he did something, as you said, suppose the action is very kind. Let's say he got a glass of water for you when you were coughing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, oh, you are bringing the whatever glass of water to me was kind. You don't have to say it in so many words, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying the thought behind it, right?
Right.
You can be more spontaneous. Ah, so kind of for you to bring the whatever, right? So the rest is unsaid, but the idea is you are always, rather, we are always focusing on the behavior, not the child. Okay. Also, many times we neither need to encourage nor need to discourage. Let me put it this way: who should encourage the child?
Ideally, he should feel happy about doing it, and he should do it himself again, or rely.
Absolutely, you
Yeah.
hit it. Bullseye, right? Who should encourage the child? The child should encourage the child. Who should discourage the child, let's say, from doing things which aren't very, let's say, appropriate or which are causing harm either to material or to people, is again the child.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, how will the child encourage himself or herself? Yeah, that's the question. So, how will the child do that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
the
think.
question to you.
Yeah. I think that's a very difficult question for me to answer because I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I feel like if he realizes that he's done something wrong, sometimes he does act on it, and I feel like next time he is a little more thoughtful, though he will still try it out maybe and still give it a go, and then be like, maybe it's okay
Mhm.
this time. But then at certain times it does work if he does realize that that's not, that makes it somebody feel sad, or that's not very, that's probably hurtful or whatever. Like he restrains himself, but then he's also, I don't know, like he just ends up doing it still, and I'm like, okay, maybe
Yeah,
he's just a
yeah.
3-year-old and maybe he just wants to do something, and he's like, he, yeah,
Yeah,
I let him be.
and even I keep doing things which are still the same. So yeah, I'm 52 years old, not much older than him, right? And it's still the same. So
Yeah.
let's not confuse the age part to it. That he's just 3 years old. I'm also just 52 years old, and I also mess up things. You can ask my wife, and you can ask my children how much I mess up in a day, right?
Hmm.
So it's not about age, but the interesting part is, I would say he would encourage himself. So if you are saying, Ritika, that he should encourage himself and he should, let's say, discourage himself for whatever is inappropriate, then the first thing is we need to get out of the picture. If we are there, if let's say he did something and we are immediately ending up encouraging or discouraging him, then we have not given him the opportunity to do that himself.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
that's the biggest one. If we move out of this encouragement, discouragement
Hmm.
business, if we resign from that and say, this is no more my business, I close this shop at all, right? Then it becomes his job to do that. Now we
Hmm.
can see how we can help the child do it more and what are the other processes. But the important part is that we need to get out of the picture.
Hmm.
If we are out of the
Right.
picture, most of the time we immediately jump in. Oh, so nice of you. You got me a glass of water, blah, blah, blah. Right? So we end up being very excited about it to encourage him. And the similar way, we end up being excited about discouraging him also. We end up saying, why did you do this? I told you not to pick this
Hmm.
up. It was too heavy. You knew that. I knew, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not necessarily in the scolding tone. We may be saying in a very sweet tone,
Hmm.
right? Very nice tone. Why did you do that, beta? I told you na, beta. So, but it doesn't matter. The tone doesn't matter because we have already done the evaluation, which
Right.
he could have done. So we have
Hmm.
taken away the opportunity.
Right.
If you want to do it then and there, if you can't kind of control yourself, I can't control yourself, I can't control myself, sorry. So I would, instead of doing it, invite him to say, what do you think about what you just did right now? Right? So
Yeah.
let him do his own, we call it reflection, but also you can call it self-assessment or evaluation. And that will lead to whatever kind of encouragement or discouragement he has for himself. So if he has to assess his own behavior, then we need to come out of it. And if required, if we want to, maybe not all the time, but invite him. If you're like itching inside, I want to say something, okay, say this. What are your thoughts about this? What do you think what you did just now? You said hi to that uncle. What do you think about it? How did that make you, let's say, feel? Or what are you thinking about it? And that uncle also smiled back at you and waved. So what did that do to you? So we're basically asking him questions so that the child can reflect on it. And ideally, I would not even do at that time if I can stay. And maybe at a later time, let's say we are done with something, or maybe in the evening or in the night, or when we are about to sleep or about having dinner together. That's the time we can kind of jog through the day and kind of say, okay, so that how was this interaction, or you remember this whole dish fell down on the floor, what do you think about that? So it's like now a quieter time when I am kind of in the mood to reflect back on me, and it also becomes a very interesting habit to build, that okay, I can kind of take stock of my day. Yeah, and he may do it at his own level. And the interesting thing could be, you can invite him to also ask you about your day. How do you feel when you were angry with me, or when you were shouting at dad, or you were doing something? What are you thinking? So he can slowly be your, I call it mirror, so that you are able to reflect using him as a mirror, and he is able to reflect using you as a mirror. So we both help being mirror to each other rather than judges to each other.
That's
and
amazing.
that way we can also help. Two things happen with this process. I can understand the child better, but that's not so important. Even more important is the child can understand himself better. Right? Because he's stopping and thinking. Maybe he has already thought, in which case he will verbalize everything to you. Maybe he has not thought about it, and hence this is an opportunity for him to take.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me connect this back to the social needs you think he has. So again, same way he can connect back, let's say in the evening or the night. So how was the day? What did you feel about, let's say, not having too many people, or having too many people, or did you miss something? So I can still throw these questions to you to try and see where is he kind of when he taking stock of a day or week or month or whatever. Typically, younger children will not necessarily think about a month and all. They will even have forgotten the day. But they may be able to at least relate to you how at the end of the day, and what are they wanting from tomorrow. So it's the reflection also helps to see, okay, what is his desire for tomorrow? Right? What is he wanting? Is he wanting to, let's say, may do more FaceTime calls with some relatives or friends, or who knows, or he's wanting to do the storytelling, or what is he wanting to do? So he also gets that space to, okay, this was my day today. This is what I'm thinking. And 3 years old can do it wonderfully. I've worked enough with 3 years old to know that all the 3 years old can do that. And all the 33 years old can also do that. So it's nothing to do with age.
Right. No, I think that's really powerful. I think what you just said. I think just being a reflection for each other and helping each other. Just think about things in our own way, interpret them in our own way, and then grow as people, I guess. Is I think it's such a simple but powerful thing.
So I think somebody in chat, Sneha, I think she's asking, will that be like cornering the child? Yeah, so Sneha, I think I relate with where you're talking about. So the best would be not to do it at that moment, as I was saying a few minutes back. Best would be to do it at the end of the day or some other time. Let's say when basically the mind is now relaxed. Maybe that's why I like food times or sleeping times. I even call a lap before the nap. kind of a thing. So before I go to sleep, I'm kind of just going through the whole lap of my day. Kind of, okay, oh, this happened, then. So I can help the child. Okay, let's go through the lap of the day. Okay, when you woke up, how were you feeling? Then you had this, then you played this, then you did breakfast. Whatever day part I know, I kind of use that as a station, as like a train going through the whole journey, and check whether there are any feelings, any thoughts about that moment now. So if something is lingering, bothering, it's there. It's kind of it's also a concept we call as dirt cleaning. Something is lingering, bother me. At the end of the day, I can kind of clean it, like how we clean our dustbins at the end of the day and kind of throw it out. So whatever little guru is happening in my brain, and that can be cleaned out, kind of. Not cleaned out in the sense of totally thrown out, but at least by expressing, I'm connected to whatever is in my mind.
Right.
So that's something. So you're right, Sneha. We don't necessarily need to corner him at that time. But I think even just asking him, even as I said, if you're itchy about what should I want to do something right now, well, ask him. And if he realizes that you are not going to judge him on that, suppose he says, "It's cool, mom. What's the big deal? This drop, no, let's clean, or you only clean now." Right? So if you're now again not going to judge him, he realizes over time that you're not asking to corner him, rather you're asking for him to think about whatever is happening. Yeah, then I think there is peace. Yeah. So do you want to talk a little more about how else you can create more opportunities for the child to interact with people?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts as well as everybody else on the call. Like, yeah, I think we're all, even irrespective of whatever geographic location we are in right now or how many people we have around us in terms of friends and family. I think with the COVID situation, things are definitely different than what it was earlier this year and before.
Sure.
So, yeah, any thoughts on that?
Hmm. I'm sure. So one of the simplest thing is, which I'm sure you must be doing it and you must also be encouraging, is to do a lot of role plays.
Yes.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
he becomes somebody and you become somebody, or his soft toys or whatever items he has at home, they become. So pretend play, children can actually spend hours doing pretend play,
Yeah.
and it kind of fulfills their need of social interaction without the trouble that social interactions bring. See, social interaction has a problem also. If I have another person, now I have to understand that other person. But my teddy always understands me without any judgment. Always agrees to do. If I change the game, my teddy will agree to change the game, but my friend may not agree. So it is in that sense, for sometimes it is much better to be, the children are also feeling more, they can literally do what they want to do, totally drive their time just by doing role plays with their various characters that they have. As I said, which could be physical soft toys and other toys, and or could be just even imaginary ones or drawn ones. You can draw a lot with him and create characters, create friends, create communities, literally. Right? And a lot of us don't. We may logically know what is a real world and what is an imaginary world. In fact, to some extent, the children also know what is a real world and what's an imaginary world. But we are effortlessly, we can switch between the two, and we can get as much vicarious pleasure just by playing with imaginary friends, right? So we don't, and it will keep all my desire for interaction still there. Yeah. So that's the safest way, the easiest way to do it. Again, sometimes parents get concerned, oh, my child is spending too much time just talking to his toys and talking aloud, and what kind of self-talk is he doing and all that. But I think there's all the research that I have read always points that this is an amazing thing. This whole self-talk done verbally. Anyway, the child is going to do self-talk in his mind. But the self-talk done verbally does so much for the development, the cognitive skills, the verbal expression skills, and so on and so forth. So it's all positive. Right? So one doesn't need to worry about that at all.
That's great. Yeah, that's really good to know. And yeah, I think he definitely does a lot of that, and it's yeah, it's just fun because like he's imagining things and he's talking about it, and we're building stories on top of each other. Like whatever we're saying, we're just building things off that. So that is,
Hmm.
yeah, I had obviously no clue on the research on like, is this a good thing or like what's the limit to this? He definitely does a lot of that. So, yeah, that's really good to hear. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, yeah, it reminds me of like a book is your best friend even when you're alone. Like you never feel alone. I think it's a similar
Yeah.
analogy here. Like it's physically maybe you don't have anybody, but like you can imagine and you can be with anybody and everybody. And yeah, I that's a really good point.
And you can use technology to add to that. You can record him either
Mm,
secretly or asking him. Both ways is fine. Whatever you are and he's comfortable with, and then he can replay and see how was it. He
mm,
can send it to friends or cousins who are anywhere part of the world, and then they can send their own pretend play, and then slowly, that becomes an interaction. That I'm
right.
watching somebody else doing present play, and then I am doing also something like that and something similar. We can exchange notes. Like some children really like trains or trucks or dolls or supermarkets. Like I really don't know what your son is liking today, but like I'm saying, then they connect with another child who's also talking about his truck and who's
Right.
showing off, and then maybe he may be more interested in connecting with that child on a FaceTime also once in a while to do this pretend play live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So use technology, record it for
Yeah.
him, and then show him that. And he may like it. He may say, "Nah, I don't want to see this. You keep it." Okay. But then that is his momentary reaction. Maybe he wants to see it a week later. He'll come back to you, Mom. Where is that video of me doing that? So we don't know. But
Yeah.
it's like a library
Mm-hmm.
of. In any
Mm-hmm.
case, there are fun memories. When he's 20 years old, show him that, and he
Yeah.
will giggle.
Yes.
He'll be
Yes.
embarrassed to death.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, no,
So yeah.
absolutely, yeah,
So.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's and yeah, I think I can relate to everything that you're saying because, like, yeah, I don't intentionally record it, but sometimes if I end up recording something, he loves watching those videos actually of himself talking
Hmm.
about those things. And yeah, now it makes sense to me.
Yeah, so you can actually intentionally do it. In fact, teach him
Yeah.
to do it. That's
Mm-hmm.
even better. Right? And
Yeah.
show him.
Yeah.
He must be already knowing half the things. If there is a device around, that he
Mm-hmm.
can just use that to record himself.
Right.
So then he gets in another dimension that I'm kind of on the camera, kind of like how we are on the
Mm-hmm.
camera now. So it just
Yeah.
adds a new dimension to it. Yeah.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Yeah.
And obviously, I'm sure when you have time, when you are with him, you will obviously be doing role plays where you become him, he becomes you, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of the roles reversals also help, or
Yeah.
you become a friend of his age. He can name you, he can literally build a character out of you. You
Mm-hmm.
can ask him, okay, well, how is my nose? Okay, is it like this or is it to be different? How is my
Yeah.
hair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you can't change your hair, but then he can rest, he will imagine. And you also have to just imagine, oh, I have a very short hair. How do I look in my short hair? Blah, blah. So
Yeah.
again, the whole characterization can be developed with you also. So you,
Mm-hmm.
you, you need not always join as a adult mom kind of character. You can be anything. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you're already doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
that also really helps the children
Yeah.
to again. It's a kind of a part imaginary play. It's not totally imaginary because you are still there, and you can even continue that. Suppose you are. Uh, let's say you are Bob the Builder. I am not getting any other name. Let's say he says, okay, you are a builder. Okay, and I am also a builder, and we both are builders. So let's say this pretend play happens for about half an hour, and then let's say you go ahead. But in the lunch time, continue being the builder.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go back to being you. Right? You
Mm-hmm.
can just continue being this and you can keep nudging him or keep
Mm-hmm.
having fun around that whole thing that he created.
Yeah.
Till
Yeah.
obviously he says, enough, mom, now you become my mom.
Yeah. 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 For sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's super interesting. And yeah, I think something which we do every day, like, yeah, it's just, it's nice to hear about it and like understand like how actually it can be, yeah, a great thing to do.
Yeah.
There's a question on the chat which I think is a question that I also relate to. Like, what are your views on screen exposure, especially for toddlers? I share a similar question. Like, I think a lot of his current characters are coming from either books or anything that he watches on TV. Um, but yeah, any thoughts on screen exposure and like all of that?
Yeah, again, the first thought that I have is, see, we have to realize that they are born in this time when there are screens all around. Yeah. We weren't born, at least I weren't born. I didn't even have a TV when I was born. So that's one of the problem with being the previous generation is you tend to come from that generation point of view and your concerns also come from there. So let's realize that they are born in this time and that is how the world is. As simple as that. Now again, that relaxes. That we realize that that's there for them. Those are their toys. Like how we say, oh, we used to climb trees. But maybe for them things have changed. I'm not saying good or bad, but I'm just saying they have changed. So let's be in cognizance of this fact that they are born in this time of whatever iPhones and iPads and stuff like that. Yeah. The second thing is that when the screen time has two aspects to it. One aspect is doing something on the screen. The other aspect is being a passive consumer of what is there on the screen. Like I'm watching a show, right? And if I'm only going to watch a show and then that's it, and then the show is over, and for today that part is over, then I only consume. Right? What we tell parents is that let the child consume. There's no problem in consuming, but let the child produce at the same time. And when I say at the same time, not concurrently, as in if I've watched a show, now I can either act out that show, or I can dress myself as that show, or draw that show, or record myself as one of the characters. Or if nothing else, at least talk to my mom and tell my mom in great detail what all happened in that, literally as a review, or I can post whatever, I can record an audio review or whatever. So I am also creating something. I'm only not a consumer, I'm a producer. We call it the wealth principle, where if I produce more than I consume as an adult, let's say, then I can accumulate wealth, isn't it? In my day-to-day financial life, if I produce more wealth and I expend less than what I produce, then automatically I'll become wealthy over a period of time, isn't it? It's simple maths principle or finance principle. It's the same thing with intellectual wealth. At times I'm consuming. When I'm reading from a book or when Mama is reading a story, I'm actually consuming the story. But if I can do something with that, I can draw the characters, make them with the Play-Doh, or tell my story myself and record it, or anything that I am now producing. Now, because production requires a different set of, you can say, skills inside me. Creative skills, cognitive skills, relating skills, lot of skills, and also hand motor skills, because I may be drawing the character, or I may be making them using, let's say, anything, paper or other materials like puppets and stuff like that, or I might be putting up shows, so that requires even social skills, talking skills. So many things are required when you are producing. So I would say, let's not think about screen time as screen time. Let's change our equations to how much is consumption versus how much is production. And let us say, not in a strict mathematical sense, but by and large, if there is a lot of production, and there is consumption, there's nothing wrong in consumption, then where that consumption comes from doesn't matter. Whether mom is reading the story or the screen is reading the story, it's still a consumption, and that's fine. Both are fine according to me, depending on a household situation, how much time mom is able to spend and so on. And obviously mom can't be so in 10 different characters, unlike, let's say, a screen which shows children with so much, lot of different lovely animations and stuff like that. So if the balance sheet is in the balance of favor, in the balance of favor of production by and large, I think we are good. Whether the consumption comes from screen or elsewhere doesn't matter. And sometimes it's just a matter of suggestion. Just a little suggestion. Hey, you're seeing this show. Now, would you like to act it out? Or would you like to play it out with your toys? Or would you like to record this? Or would you like to tell me in detail over dinner? And so on, right? So it's just a matter of cueing them to produce. They are raring to produce. They are deep down super creative. Not they, all of us are super creative. By creative, I don't mean the general definition of creativity. I more mean the ability to create something, to produce something, produce ideas, produce scenarios, produce stuff like art and sculptures or puppets or whatever else the child, or using blocks, he may create scenarios and houses and things like that. So all of that creative energy is there. It's there's lots in them. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. I love this consumer producer sort of take on screen time. I think, yeah, this is one of the most unique things I've heard about this topic. And yeah, it really makes a lot of sense. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Okay. So what else?
Related to that, I mean, we can always go back to the main thread that we're talking about, like generating more of these opportunities in the current times. But a related topic to some of this role play and stuff is, so he does a lot of role play right now, which is it's definitely inspired by a lot, as I was saying, from his books and from any characters. What is your advice on like drawing the line between certain things which is okay for an animated character to do, but is not the best thing that you would do in real life for whatever safety concerns, or I mean, how do you draw the line between like it's okay in a story or in the virtual world, but it's probably not okay to do in the real world? Because I think sometimes he gets so engrossed in that way of thinking that yeah, firstly it's yeah, just how do you distance yourself, right? Or how do you be more transparent about that this is probably not the best thing to do in the real world? For example, I can give you an example. Like today, like these days, he's really inspired by Shrek, and Shrek has this amazing thing of like he pulls out ear wax from his big ears, and nowadays he starts pulling out stuff or putting stuff in his ears, which is like can be physically harmful for him, and it's
Absolutely.
so like how do I like suddenly from growing into that mode where he's Shrek and I'm Fiona and all of that go into this mode of like, hey, don't do that, right? So that's just
So
an
again, the
example,
question,
but yeah.
yeah, the perspective comes is who should be able to draw this line? Who should draw this line? We as parents, you want you to draw this line. Who you want should be able to draw this line?
Ideally him, but in certain situations, I'll be honest, like I feel like I don't want him to harm himself. So I want to let him know
wait. So we'll
yeah.
come to that. We will come to that. But yeah, so what we need to keep in mind is ideally him. Not just ideally him, we want him to draw the line. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like we want him to encourage himself and discourage himself, even here, we want him to take a call more and more, because not every time he can be in front of our eyes. So his safety is finally in his hand, because it's just not possible that he could be just in another room or just round the door and he can still do something funny to himself, which can be harmful, let's say. Yeah. So yes, you are saying ideally, I would say ideally, practically, in every which way, let the safety be the child's responsibility. Let's operate from that. Yeah. A lot of people talk also about, sanitizing your house, removing all the harmful things and so on and so forth, right? I don't believe in that. For both my kids, we have never done that. Because what we believe is that how long can you sanitize? How long can you make safe? I can make anything unsafe. You can make whatever you want safe, and I can still make things unsafe. Much better is to help the child understand what is dangerous, right? And without us telling him what is dangerous, he has to understand what is dangerous. And again, for that, just like an encouragement case, I would go for reflection. The more reflection that the child does, or I do with the child, and when I see that the Shrek is pulling this thing out of his ear. So after the Shrek show is over, I'll ask him, what do you think? Why are they showing this? Does it really happen? Have you seen anybody, me, dad, mom, uncles, anybody pulling out things out of their ears or putting things into their ears? Do we do that? No, we don't do that. And so on. So we give him, we ask him to observe more, to collect more data, as you said, to connect the imaginary world to the real world, and also realize why do they do in TV shows. Then he may say just to make it funny. that is whenever his conclusion comes, not, we don't need to feed in him this part that it is to make it funny, but he will make that conclusion if we on a daily basis get into this whole reflective business. And we can actually do dangerous tours, which means let's do a tour of the house as to what all can be dangerous, and we can do a safety tour where what all is safe. Okay, so and this spans everything, because you have raised this thing about what's happening in this, but it actually, if you look at it, it is beautiful, because you can expand this to all kinds of safeties, right from electrical safety to people safety, which will include sexual abuse safety, every possible safety that you can think of, and similarly every possible danger that you can think of. Okay, so suppose the child may want to put his finger inside an electrical socket. Yeah. So then we don't need to get into the physics and the current and all that at this age, because he will not even understand. He will say, what are you talking about? But we can ask him that, okay, if this is supposed to be dangerous, at least I think it is dangerous. Dad, do you think it is dangerous? Dad also confirms that it is dangerous. Then what do you think about it? Why do you think it is dangerous? Why is mom and dad thinking of it as dangerous? Or should we just try and put our fingers in? Why is there something called as safety, something danger? Would you like to label all the places which are dangerous? So he makes these labels, which however he designs by colors and using different lettering, or if you want to letter down for him. And he goes and pastes around all those houses, whichever he thinks is dangerous and things like that. Or he makes, let's say, educational videos for other children to know how putting things in ear is dangerous. So he is like the teacher to others, so that he learns in that process. It's not about teaching others, whether you put them up in Instagram or not, that's immaterial. More important is that he is understanding. So I think just like encouragement, discouragement, just like everything else, he is learning. If he's the driver of his learning, then he will learn this.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah, and it's not just the safety things. A lot of stories and things have a lot of different things, gender biases, color biases, and all kinds of things are there, right? And again, we can't sanitize media, we can't sanitize. So there's no need, because that is reality in which we live, right? People have all kinds of opinions. People have all kinds of ways of dealing with things. Somebody might just say, oh, this phone, this is bad, I'll just throw it out of the window, right? But that doesn't mean all of us start throwing our phones out of the window if we are irritated with the phone. So I'm just saying, the whole idea is for him to develop his own wisdom, rather than we thinking that, okay, and it will not happen in a day, obviously. So we don't have to feed him, rather we need to give him cues and opportunities for him to start building his own library of understanding, or a library of wisdom inside him.
right.
And as he develops that, more than the wisdom, he develops the ability to create wisdom. That's more important, right? That is something which will help him throughout his life. Right? The wisdom itself will keep changing as he grows. Things will evolve, his own perceptions. The world itself is evolving. So those things need not remain static with him. But his ability to create his own wisdom is something which is inherent, and something which can be developed, and something which he can relish doing and enjoy and gain from throughout his life.
That's the crux of everything.
So that's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. That is, that's very, very insightful. And I think, it translates to everything that we
Cool.
do.
I think we've talked a lot today.
Yeah, this is all great stuff. Thank you so much. For
I
sharing.
think your video seems to be frozen for me.
Oh, that's strange. Sorry. I don't know what's happening at my end. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I think in between the video got frozen.
Oh, okay.
So good. So I think that's quite a lot for today.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is
We
quite a
take
lot,
a
but all
pause, and we
really.
can always talk again whenever you feel like.
Yeah, this was really good and really, really helpful. I think very insightful. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, I would love
My
to have
pleasure.
sessions like this again in the future. Thank you so much.
Sure, anytime.
Yeah, and thanks for always providing all these really unique perspectives and just continue to
Yeah.
share. I think Aarohi shares a lot of things online, and I really enjoy sometimes reading those. So yeah, thanks so
Yeah.
much for sharing all these thoughts with us.
I also want to extend this invitation to other people who are listening. That if you want to discuss any aspect or any issue or anything related to your child, you can also ping us, and we can similarly come live so that it helps not just you but others people. So we can come live just like how Ritika came live with me today. One of us can be live with you, and we can also. So please feel free to connect with us, and we can just discuss.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
And thank you so
Great.
much. Yeah, thank you so
No,
much.
my
Okay,
pleasure.
bye.
Yeah. Bye bye. Yeah. Bye.